Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. It is CoachFury here, and we are back today with a recap of the first round of the Big Ten tournament. It is that time of season in the CBGM where we are in the conference tournaments, and the first round of the Big Ten has kicked off now. As you can see on the screen, we've got 4 teams that are competing in this first round, and let's just do a very quick recap to see how the scores have gone, who are the teams that are going through to the next round, who are the ones who are going home early, and if there are any surprise performances, top performers, any guys that we can maybe keep an eye on throughout the tournament. We'll recap that now. So let's dive straight into it then. As you can probably see from the scores, 2 teams that are going through are Rutgers and Northwestern. But let's take a little look at the box score and see how the games have gone. So if we start with Nebraska against Northwestern, you can see here that basically Orion Mitchell was the player of the game for Northwestern. They managed to have an electric first half of the game, putting up 41 points on this Nebraska team, which basically was the deciding factor in the end. You can see here that Nebraska didn't get any fast break points. They struggled in that aspect of the game. It was pretty even apart from that, really. It looked like, from looking at this, that the turnovers were slightly better for Northwestern, which probably helped in terms of factor that in. And they also got some good performances from the bench as well. In particular, Smith and Sims there coming out nicely and putting up some decent stats for them. But it was mainly Mitchell who had an amazing night, putting up 21 points, 3 assists, 5 rebounds and 2 blocks. So a very good performance from him, certainly. Continuing that trend that he's had through the season as being an electric outside scorer who can do a bit of everything really at that guard position. So good performance from Northwestern. On the Nebraska side, I think the thing that let them down really was Fields had a particularly poor night. Interesting that he's not the world's best shooter anyway. Guess it kind of shows the lack of depth this Nebraska side has. But going through a 14 certainly would have been a big factor in this game, particularly that 2 of the 8 from downtown as well didn't help Nebraska get over the line here against Northwestern. So Northwestern are going through. Good offensive performance, look pretty strong. Going to be about whether Mitchell can carry on this form and keep pushing this team through. And also someone like Robish has got to certainly up his scoring efficiency as well. Going to be difficult to do considering most of the season he hasn't done that anyway. So we move on to the Rutgers against Penn State game here, where Rutgers went through. In a pretty close matchup. I guess the main deciding factor in this one again comes down to the first half performances, but for the negative reason in this one. Penn State only putting up 19 points in the first half. Rutgers just basically locking them down completely in that first half meant that there was an uphill battle going into the second half. Both teams did have a poor first half though. Maybe that was a bit of nerves in the tournament, who knows, but it was a very low scoring first half, and then the second half seemed to be a bit of a blowout really, in terms of scoring for both teams. You can see here that Will Childs was player of the game, but to be perfectly honest with you, it was a pretty good all-round team performance from Rutgers. Childs putting up some good numbers, 6 of 10. He's looking like he could develop into a pretty nice star for this Rutgers team going forward. Good outside shooting, putting up 18 points, 2 assists and 4 rebounds. But there was a great performance from the bench from Bailey, who was perfect, 5 of 5. With 5 assists, although it was 6 turnovers and a couple of rebounds. So good bench performance from him, certainly playing above his averages throughout the season. Did definitely help this team get through against Penn State. Interestingly, the team shot really well from downtown as well, so they do have some really good sharp shooters on this team. And they were just incredibly efficient with the ball, really, when they were scoring. Turnovers-wise is definitely going to be an issue for them. Like quite a lot of teams in the CBGM, turnovers is going to be a challenge. But, if you can score 60% of your shots, you always got a chance of winning a game. On the other side of it, though, Penn State are heading home early. Tough one for them to take, really. The first half certainly was definitely a factor in this. Otherwise, apart from that, they pretty much played pretty well in the second half. Team was fairly good in terms of scoring. The starters came out and did pretty well. Williams was pretty poor off the bench, only 1 of 5 from his shooting, which didn't necessarily help. But I guess the question really sort of stands is, how this team could basically allow a team to score 60% on them. Defense was certainly a challenge for them, despite the fact they won the turnover battle, and that looked pretty good for them. But if you're going to allow a team to score 60% and 50% from 3-point line, if you can't defend, you can't hold a team down. Granted, it was probably a second half performance of Rutgers that kind of came out and got them over this one. You're always going to be struggling. So Penn State is going to be heading home early for this one. Question marks over their defense, but congratulations to Rutgers who have gone through into the next round. So we'll do a quick snapshot of how this looks in terms of the tournament matchup now. So we've got a whole host of games happening today. We have Purdue against Wisconsin. It's going to be a really good matchup for that one. Wisconsin's probably a little bit underranked, to be perfectly honest with you, because of their regular season record. They are a very good team though, so that's going to be a tough game for Purdue. Indiana, Rutgers, I fully expect Indiana to come through that one. I think Rutgers will not carry on that offensive performance that they have done against Penn State. Although if they carry out that defense against Indiana, they might have a shot. If they carry on that first half performance, who knows? We then have Michigan against Illinois. That's going to be a fascinating battle. Two real good basketball teams there going up against each other. Have different strengths and different weaknesses. We talked on the show to the Illinois coach and talking about his 5-out offense and how he's looking to develop that freshman class. This is going to be a real good challenge for them. See how they can cope with the pressure of being in the tournament and against a particularly good team in Michigan State. So that's going to be an interesting one to watch out for. And then obviously we have Maryland against Northwestern. Not a lot to say on this one. I think Northwestern have definitely done very well to get to the second round, and I'm sure their GM is going to be pleased with that performance, given that I pitched them in the preview as being a team that's probably going to struggle this year and be down the bottom of the Big Ten. But to get to the second round is a fantastic achievement. Going to be a real tough challenge against Maryland though. Maryland have some very, very good star players that we've talked about on the previous show. Going to be tough for them. They're going to need to play their absolute best to try and get over that one, but it's going to certainly be tough, and whoever wins that one obviously goes up against Minnesota. So that gives you a quick recap of the Big Ten. We've obviously got second round coming up tonight. We'll be back next time, probably talk a little bit about the second round, see how those games have gone. But congratulations to Northwestern and to Rutgers coaches for getting through to the second round. Best of luck to everyone in the second round. Looking forward to seeing the game, seeing the scores and the recap, and we'll certainly be back on the channel to look at the Big Ten again going forward.